nous pouvons commencer notre cérémonie. Donc je voudrais maintenant donner la parole à Albéric afin qu'il vous présente le programme et qu'il puisse assurer ses fonctions de maître de cérémonie.
Merci, Monsieur le Secrétaire Général. Merci, Olivier. Bonjour, dear colleagues. Good morning. Good morning, colleagues here. Good morning, colleagues in country offices and regional offices. And good morning, colleagues that are, I understand, in rooms outside this auditorium. It is certainly my first town hall meetings, but I hope it will not be my last. But you never know nowadays with all these performance contracts want us to be very, very careful. But now that we have broken the ice, let me introduce the high table. Of course, we have President Adesina, and we have a Senior Vice President, Franny Lautier. Dear colleagues, as I understand, you had your last town hall meeting in April, and President Adesina did promise that he's going to come back and give you much more in terms of the new business delivery models, and after the board's approval. And since then, of course, there has been several events, namely the annual meeting that was very successful, but you will hear it directly from him. And also other policy strategy documents that were approved. So that also is going to give us a really good overview. And by the time we finish, we should be able to be totally enlightening with his vision and what he's expecting of us. And we'll have opportunities to ask questions that are going to be coming from the auditorium, questions that are also going to be coming from the country offices and regional offices and also the room outside. So we'll see how we're going to handle them. We have already received a series of questions through the special dedicated website. Some of you I know had some technical glitches, but we'll tell you exactly how we're going to deal with them. But rest assured, nothing is not going to be left unanswered. So if you allow me, with any further ado, we'll ask President Adesina to come to the podium and address us. President, you have the floor.
Thanks very much, Alberic. I'm glad that you started off by saying that you hope it's not going to be your last. I don't think I ever hope for it to be your last, but I think you said the right tone in terms of what performance really contracts. It's great to see you here. I am delighted to be in this building, and for all of you that are the landlords that have been here, because how many of you have been here? You actually, this is where you work out of. If you're landlords, you have to be much bolder than that. You know, you're receiving the rest of us that are going to be tenants for a while. Yeah. But anyway, it's good to be here with you this morning. Dear colleagues, good morning, and let me also welcome all of our colleagues from around our offices that are both in the country offices but also in the regional offices. Let me welcome you to this new auditorium in our newly refurbished headquarters building. I am delighted that 730 out of 1,200 scheduled bank staff have already moved into this building. By the end of July, the board and all senior managers and staff are supposed to also move here, and I myself will be here, of course. I very much look forward to that, and I hope some of our board members are here, and I know quite a few of them wanted to participate here this morning. It's actually beautiful premises that we have. I want to thank you for your suggestions to make even the headquarters even better. We're constantly working to make the headquarters and all our work locations fit for purpose. Colleagues, let me say something very important at the outset. Let me start with a confession. It's good to always confess. It's in my job description to talk a lot. And here I go again for another 30 minutes or so. So you have to bear with me. I'm just simply fulfilling my performance contract. But I also listen as well, and I look forward to doing just that a bit later. I know you have a lot to tell me. I know, for instance, that my last town hall meeting, as Alberic said, at the end of April, some of you felt a little bit shortchanged. You wanted a lot more. You heard me talk at length about my vision and about how we will transform the bank to transform Africa. Perhaps you feel sometimes that you've had enough. You've heard me talk about the high fives. And you've heard me on the development and business delivery model. All the 5 foundations we have to achieve inside the bank in order to achieve the 5 goals, the big goals we have for the continent. If you look around, I'm sure you will see the business delivery model and the high-five branding on display. This is the 545, which also is the email address I used to solicit some of your questions and address ahead of this meeting. More of those later in my comments. But enough of the big language. You want the beef. You want to know the why and the outlines of the what. But now you rightly want to know the how and the who and the when. Absolutely. Colleagues, that's absolutely fine. My pledge, therefore, is that today I will tell you as much as I can. And that by 31st of December this year, and I hope to stick to that date, I and the senior management colleagues will aim to tell you everything. Today, I'm just going to try and set out the roadmap from end of June to end of December. Why? Because, as I said, I am listening. As I talk to you and hear from you, I am picking up the real excitement, the real anticipation, the real buy-in into what we are trying to achieve. But let's not deny it. It's also something I'm picking up, some uncertainty and some anxiety. I'm picking up a little sense of being a little bit in a limbo. I'm even picking up from some people a little bit of what I would call some frustration. You seek answers. What does this mean for me, and what does it mean for my family? When will all of this happen? Today I'm going to try and put more flesh on the bones. Actually, there's a lot of flesh there already, but we need a little bit more. I hope you understand that I cannot put all the flesh on all the bones, but I will do my best. That's the spirit with which I enter this meeting today, and I hope you share that with me. It's primarily a meeting about us, what you can call internal cuisine. This is a family meeting. The issues which are all on all of our minds. So let's talk about them. Let me start with the operations. I'm just going to ask you to listen for a while at the onset while I talk about what ultimately matters the most, which is our work as a development bank to better the lives of the people of Africa. We all know that that's what counts. Here's one statistic, colleagues. By the end of this year, we are well on track to deliver an unprecedented volume of lending, exceeding the target of 7.3 billion UA we had set out to achieve at the beginning of the year. That's very exciting. This performance is close to 20% higher than last year and will represent a tremendous vote of confidence from our client countries to support their development efforts. I wish to thank the board members for their support and the indulgence in helping us to manage the heavy workload ahead. I also like to thank the teams in operations who are working ceaselessly so hard to deliver on these stretched targets. Similarly, We have set out to exceed last year's disbursement performance by over 1 billion units of account, to achieve 4.4 billion units of account by December. Close to a third of this amount has been disbursed to date, and prospects are good to achieve this stretch target by the end of the year. Thank you again for the very big efforts being made by our teams on the ground and of course our teams at the headquarters. But what do all these numbers mean in terms of impact we have on the ground? One answer lies here. Where is that publication? There is a publication. There is a, oh, can you please give me that? How many of you have seen this publication? Okay, well, I'll talk to you about it. It's called the Annual Development Effectiveness Review for 2015, which Simon and his team, please give them a round of applause. They've done a great job of it. Released this yesterday. I urge you to look at it. It's on the bank's website today as the main lead story. So Simon paid me a little bit to do a bit of PR for him, and so I'll collect back from him in terms of development effectiveness. But please do take a look at it. The big figures tell us some of the story. The African Development Effectiveness Report tells us that the bank has given 4 million Africans access to energy in the last 2 years, and that 17 million Africans are benefiting from improved access to agriculture through the bank's work. I urge you to look at another thing related to the African Development Effectiveness Report, and that's what's called the Map Africa. A remarkable visual tool. When I saw it, I was quite excited as we were preparing for the ADF 14. It's quite a remarkable tool. It basically tells you all of what we do in different parts of Africa, and just by a click of the button, you can see for your area what's going on, what have we achieved, what are the gaps. It's a fantastic map. I urge you to also take a look at it. It shows the impact we are having on the ground. It's exciting. It brings about to life real dynamic engagement we are having with policymakers and the civil society. As I said, kindly take a look at it. You'll like it. But ultimately, of course, the impact of our work is felt in individual lives. Every one of you will have your own favorite stories. I'm sure if I ask all of you, you'll have great stories to tell me. But here's a quick video clip of one of my own personal favorites. It's linked to the Menengai geothermal plant in Kenya. It's the story of Lucy. Watch.
In a few months' time, Lucy, a 14-year-old schoolgirl, will no longer have to help her mother chop wood for cooking or heating in the evenings. The home will no longer be lit by a dangerous kerosene lamp.
If you have electricity, it could be easy. Same to our siblings. It can help my mom when cooking.
Lucy and her brothers can study at home, at night, and at school.
The impact is that since they had the interest to learn as early as that time, but they are not able to access because of lack of lights, the performance of the class goes down. They are not able to learn very well because they just learn for a few hours because they do not have access to light.
Thank you very much. Please give the guys a little bit of encouragement as they tune the volume. It's our first time of using this facility, so you can understand. Let me also talk briefly about the 2016 annual meetings. I wrote to you straight after the annual meetings on the 5th of June. For me, there were 5 big takeaways from our week in Lusaka at the end of May. First, a massive endorsement of the high fives by the Board of Governors and by the meetings at large. While they acknowledge the importance of the high fives and their interdependence, over 50% of our governors voted for the first one, Light Up and Power Africa, as the most important. They called on us to focus our efforts on mobilizing resources for the New Deal on Energy for Africa. Each of the high fives is well underway. The strategies for 3 of the high fives, that is the Light Up and Power Africa, the Feed Africa, and Jobs for Africa's Youth initiative, within the high fives of improving the quality of life for the people of Africa, have already been approved by the board. I'm especially pleased that we now also have a special panel led by former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan and former German President Horst Kohler, and including some global development luminaries from the public and private sector who will assist us in this great endeavor. Do we have a photo of some of them on the screen? No, we don't. Oh, it was too small. Okay. Second, a massive endorsement, again by the Board of Governors and by the entire meetings, of a bank that is fit for purpose, both in what it has done and what it will do. Our new business development and delivery model, which is what we are going to focus on today, was seen to be at the core of how we will deliver on the high fives. Third, a clear coalescing over the opportunities, not just the threats, presented by the crossover of energy and climate change, which was the official theme of the annual meetings. At the meetings, we talked about the challenges countries are facing, like drought in Southern Africa, where countries like Malawi are facing severe drought. And many of you recall that when I came back from my trip to Malawi, I showed you the maize cobs that I was able to pick up from the field. I think it was listed, Janvier, that went to be into the field, and it was absolutely nothing. And that's why we immediately announced that the bank will provide $549 million to support the countries to cope with the severe effects of the El Nino phenomenon. But of course, fourth, there's an overwhelming sense the bank is the vehicle of choice to meet Africa's development challenges. We saw it in its exceptional convening power in Lusaka. We are not merely technicians, or we are not merely investors. We are the channel for the aspirations of a continent, an agent for Africa. Fifth, the sense of excitement and expectation that I have already mentioned. Africa and Africa's friends around the world are willing to us to succeed. And they have asked us, and each and every one of us in this bank, to stand and to deliver. They will encourage us to do so. And they will also hold us, I must say, rigorously to account. In an ADF replenishment year, no delegate was left in any doubt as to the millions of lives that we have touched and the hundreds of millions more that we are yet to reach in Africa as Africa unleashes its full potential. So before we talk about matters close to home, what I call the internal cuisine matters, let's see a quick 5-minute video, the best of the annual meetings. And I hope you get the volumes right this time.
I'd like to welcome you to this annual meeting of the African Development Bank Group.
Our priorities for the bank. Those priorities are basically to light up and power Africa,
Second is to be able to feed Africa, to industrialize Africa, to integrate Africa, and to improve the quality of life for the people of Africa. That's where the rubber meets the road in terms of development.
Poor nutrition casts a long shadow over entire generations, denying children, communities, and nations from reaching their full potential.
Nos deux fondations vont mettre de l'argent ensemble au niveau de la BAD pour justement encourager la BAD à ajouter la composante nutrition across le portefeuille de la BAD.
You, our shareholders, friends of Africa, are the ones that make this meeting an exciting one.
Our expectations are that these meetings will generate resolutions which will help Africa
I'm here basically to showcase some of my inventions and also to be on a panel discussion on creating jobs for young people.
Ailleurs, on utilise le nucléaire, l'énergie aussi à base de charbon. On dit que non, en Afrique ici, ça, c'est pas bon.
Let us deliver together on the high fives all across Africa. Let us be on the right side of history. Please turn to the person next to you and give them a high five just like this. Give Africa a high five.
The financing needs of Africa to develop its economies and meet the sustainable development goals are huge and far exceeds what the African Development Bank Group can provide from its own resources alone. And this is why we need development partners. We need the private sector, and we need the African countries themselves to come together for this.
It is very important for me to be here. It has always been important for the women to be at the dialoguing table. You cannot move a society, you cannot move an institution without women.
If indeed you have to take a chance on Africa, it is this time, because it's not charity to invest in power in Africa.
Il y a seulement 8 mois que vous avez pris la tête de la banque et on sent la banque bouger.
On a eu la chance d'engager avec la directrice de la BAD sur le développement humain, avec le président de la BAD, pour voir comment on pourrait apporter ce genre de solution. Donc ça, je pense que c'est un exemple assez concret.
our partner accept the level of ambition that the President has put forward and the challenge that has put to us, staff of the bank, to scale up, deliver, push ourselves and raise to the challenge of really transforming the African continent.
Tous ceux qui sont là sont plus ou moins électrifiés pour qu'on soit en action immédiatement.
Namaste, Africa. I would like to convey my sincere thanks for selecting Ahmedabad, India as the venue of the 2017 annual meetings of the bank.
I now declare the 2016 annual meetings of the African Development Bank closed. Thank you very much.
I think the revolution is on that side, and it has started. Let's together rise up and light up and empower Africa and give ourselves the opportunity to develop as a continent with dignity.
Thank you. I'll tell you two more things that I found quite exciting about the annual meeting. Where is Olivier? Olivier is, yeah, please stand up. Now, take a look at him. Does he have a tie? He doesn't have a tie. But for the annual meeting, he put on a tie. I didn't recognize him in the hall. I had to ask him. I said, what happened? He said, well, you know, it's annual meeting. If you're in tie, I have to be in tie. So when we finished the annual meeting, I took a photograph with him. He said, I will keep this because this is me actually in tie. So I'm going to keep it in my office. Well, thank you very much. I know so many people work so hard, but Nana, please, she literally almost fell down trying to prepare. So let's thank Nana for a great job that she's done. And I didn't realize that we could make money. I thought we made money only from treasury operations. But I'm convinced now we can set up our own TV show. So if Charles and Haisatu can stand, because we had a Charles and Haisatu Bloomberg show. Where's Charles? And so I think it's part of our diversification strategy that we can also have our own TV show. They did a great job. But thank you to every one of you, all the staff, all you did for the annual meeting. Thank you. I'm very grateful for it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, the goodwill and the excitement is clearly very palpable. But the expectation is huge. Now we enter the hard day, everyday slog of delivering on the high fives. It's all about implementation, implementation, and implementation. So now let's talk about the development and business delivery model, which will be the rock upon which this house is built. The development and business delivery model was approved by our board on 22nd of April. I hope you've read it. The best place you can find it is on the 545 microsite on our intranet homepage. I'm just going to repeat some of the 5 internal foundations we need to lay if we are going to deliver on our 5 external goals. You've heard them before, you will hear them from me again. First, moving even closer to our clients. Second, reconfiguring the headquarters to serve the regional offices and their operations. Third, strengthening our performance culture. Fourth, streamlining our processes. Fifth, raising our income to increase our developmental impact. The first of them, moving even closer to our clients, took a big step forward on Wednesday, 22nd of June, when the board approved the Decentralization Action Plan. Again, please read these on the website, both the external website, but also on the internal website. The fifth of them, on raising our income, took a big step forward when the board approved a new loan pricing policy just before we left for Lusaka. And I can tell you it wasn't an easy conversation at the board on that one. That's what I told the board members, it was a consensus, but it was a difficult consensus. We absolutely needed to have that. Raising our income is not only about ensuring that our products are competitively priced. It's also about increasing the volume of development assistance and operating at peak efficiency. What is unfolding is a major journey of transformation, where we can collectively align around a vision and do so with real excitement. We are shifting mindsets and behaviors across our entire organization. But colleagues, this is a huge task. So let's ask some of the key questions now. Where are we when it comes to moving operations into the regions? And where are we when it comes to strengthening the complexes in the headquarters? And where are we in assembling the team we need to do this? Where are we in looking hard at the staff we have right now and at the staff we need? These are the questions that count. And this, I know, is where you seek answers as well. So, first, I shall look at teams, and then I shall look at people. Let's look at the new organogram slide here. Is it up? And please just leave it up there. Colleagues, the new organizational structure is in fact already operational. Immediately after it was approved by the board, key people were appointed as acting vice presidents to cover the demands, I must say high demands, of the new organogram. So John Vialist has been overseeing all activities under the Regional Development, Integration and Business Delivery Complex. Stephen, please rise as I mentioned you so that I can just recognize you. Yeah, please. Thank you very much. Stephen Nalitambi is overseeing activities on the Power, Energy and Green Growth Complex, as well as the private sector infrastructure and industrialization complex. Thank you. And Kapil Kapoor has taken oversight of the activities under Agriculture, Human and Social Development Complex, and they are doing a very good work of this. We are moving on. Please thank them for all the work they're doing. Meanwhile, the positions of vice presidents in these four complexes have been advertised in The Economist and on our website. And we expect our headhunters to provide us with shortlists of the interviews by the end of July. I expect to have all these positions filled before the end of this year. We have also completed the job descriptions of all the director generals. Through the transformation, I think those ones are also going to be on the website. When?
July 3rd.
Okay, all right. Next week. And I've also asked that this be given to John Afrique as well as The Economist for advertisement. So everything is clear. I want a very open, transparent, highly competitive process in how we select our senior management teams. Through the transformation management team, which met for the first time yesterday, and you know I sent a presidential directive out. Can you please reduce this echo? Monsieur Echo, on va mettre ça dans votre contrat de performance. And we do a 360-degree, everybody here against you. And let me thank Franny for chairing the transformation management team. We met for the first time yesterday, and we have begun the hard work of defining the substructures and the teams needed for each of the complexes. We've also begun identifying the skills we need and the talent we have for all the complexes. Now that the development and business delivery model and the decentralization action plan have been approved, we can now go ahead with decisions about moving our staff to the three hubs of Tunis for North Africa, Johannesburg for Southern Africa, and Nairobi for the East Africa hubs. We expect to have all these movements done by the end of December this year. Meanwhile, for the sector teams in the headquarters, we have started with Power, Energy, Climate, and Green Growth Complex. As you have seen, we are building these ones from the scratch, and a call for expression of interest has already gone out. And I would like to actually encourage those of you that have the skills, the ideas, and the competencies for that new complex to express yourself. It is a way in which we want to make sure that you have a say in where you go. And if you see some exciting things where you can have a role to play, absolutely do put your feet forward to say, well, I'm interested in this, and here are my competencies to do so. So please, as we put up this new deal on energy, look at what we've requested for, and if you think that you have the capacities and the skills and competencies, do put up yourself for them. Yesterday, when I held the inaugural meeting with our team, we decided to also map out for the rest of the year and also what we will do for the next year. We will use a very transparent process to select, to move, to place, to recruit talent we need for all the sector complexes. Colleagues, here is the bottom line, and I'm sure you want to know what the roadmap is. By the end of December this year, we will know where all staff will know where they are going to be. And indeed, many of them will have a say in where that is. I expect you to participate, as I've said, in the types of processes like the expression of interest that I've just mentioned for the new deal on energy. Let me turn to people. Let me state the obvious, that we need the right people to bring out and deliver, to bring about this huge internal transformation of the bank. We need a top management. We also need good people at every level of the organization. In my 10 months here, I have seen many hardworking and excellent staff. We need to ensure that they are in the right places in the new organogram and that they are properly challenged and incentivized. We also need to bring in the right new people we need and ensure that they have the right skill mix. Now is the time for me then to welcome some new arrivals. Franny Lotte, our Senior Vice President. Albert Kaku, our new Vice President for Human Resources and Corporate Services. David Segawa, our new Director of Human Resources. They are people of great pedigree, and they come with a wealth of experience. In fact, so hardworking is your new Senior Vice President that I'm getting a little bit concerned about how her lifestyle is. She works all the time, and she said to me, I don't want to rent a house. I just need to have a small place in a hotel somewhere where all my things are done because it's a 24-hour job. That's how she takes it. So thank you very much, Franny, for all you're doing since you arrived. But as Alberic told you, they also come with a heavy burden of expectation. They must deliver, and Alberic, I hope you had that. And you can see where they are on the chart there. Performance contracts. You've heard me say this a couple of times before. That is going to be the new norm for this bank. Performance, 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 incentive, incentive, incentive. I have signed already performance contracts with our Senior Vice President and also with Alberic, the Vice President for Human Resources and Corporate Services. Of course, they are not going to be the only ones that will sign performance contract, lest you think that this is just something being done at the top. No. Turn to your neighbor and tell them you are going to sign one too. We're going to cascade to directors, to managers, to task managers, to everybody is going to sign a performance contract. So today, you will witness live the signing of new performance contracts by the Vice President, Charles Boerman, the Acting Vice President, Kapil Kapoor, John Beer List. Is it List or Listed? You can take one down in my performance evaluation. And Stefan Lalitembi, as well as the Acting Chief Economist, Charles Lufumpa. Colleagues, let me now turn to the issue of contracts and salaries. I'm fully aware that there are concerns among some staff about their contract renewals. especially for those whose contracts have formally expired. Let me be very sincere. With the transition and the need for greater clarity on the new development and business delivery model of the bank, and the required staffing needs, we've had to put the brakes on several hirings and contract renewals. That's the reason. With the board approval now of the new organizational structure, the new development and business delivery model, and 3 of the high fives strategies of the bank, we can see more clearly now the direction of travel. And we have a better idea of what our resource needs are. Rest assured that we will be respectful and fair to all staff as we go through this transition. I have already directed the Vice President for Human Resources and Corporate Services and the Director of Human Resources to now extend all contracts, and I said all contracts, that have formally expired, appropriately in a fair and transparent manner, but in line with the new culture of performance we are entrenching in the bank. The same arrangement will apply to all contracts due to expire between now and the end of the year. By December this year, we shall have a greater clarity about each employee's new role and location so that we can revert to full normal contracts. Colleagues, most of us are currently here in Abidjan. With the ongoing work on decentralization, that means some will remain here and some will be based in our country offices and our new business delivery regional offices. Also, there will be rationalization of some positions. That means some will remain with us and some will leave us. Let me assure you that everyone will be treated fairly and on merit. We want the best people to do the best jobs. We will always look out for your best interest, for those of your families, especially in situations where you are relocated to any of the offices. There is a reason why we have set a key date of end of December as the deadline for important things to happen. First, it will allow staff to focus on the work of delivering on the current year's portfolio. Second, we expect all the complexes to have been fully set up, even if the staff have not fully moved to where they have to be, because I know that takes time because of family and all of those things. This will allow us to get the work going to deliver also on the 2017 work program and budget once that has been approved by our board of directors. Third, staff who have been properly and transparently vetted based on new job descriptions and skills alignment will have full 3-year contracts with clear and explicit performance targets to drive results and accountability. That's the new way of working. It is therefore critical that staff show what they can do. We want the right staff in the right jobs, and that will not be compromised. I have 2 strong and perhaps stark things to say here. First, let me start with the obvious. You, the bank staff, are our greatest asset. And as I said earlier, we want to motivate and inspire our staff. We want to pay you well and support you to allow you to deliver the maximum. You want the proof? Look no further than the recent general salary increase of 23.2% and the related performance-based increase of 3%, which I think Alberic tells me will begin in 3 days' time on 1st of July. I am delighted about this, and I'm also delighted about what it represents. Senior management fought hard, I can tell you, to get this because we felt that you deserved it. And the board of directors actively wanted to give it because they recognize the importance and the quality of your work, and they know that this bank depends on it. Let me say, for a point of clarity, the 23.2% is not a cost of living adjustment, because sometimes some people confuse that. It's not. Because when you have a cost of living adjustment, it can be removed at any time. It's just, it comes today and the president can come up tomorrow that, if I look at the numbers from Charles and say, well, we don't have enough money. We just say, well, that's a benefit and we can cancel it. This is not that. This is a full increase in your salary, which has implications for everything in terms of your retirement and all of that. And I can tell you, I don't know how many organizations you will find where you will find that organization giving a 23.2% not benefit, but salary increase. I hope you are appreciative to our board of directors. Let's thank them for that. The 23.2% general increase and the 3% merit increase apply to international and general staff in the headquarters only. As for the locally recruited staff in the countries who received their salary increases in July 2015 ahead of all the headquarter colleagues, they will have another salary review early in 2017. I had a long discussion about this with Nana, and she briefed him about what the plans are for those to be done once we have secured our board's approval in the last quarter of this year. But second, let me also state that we will not tolerate a sense of entitlement. The salary increase comes with a heavy and urgent responsibility to deliver for hundreds of millions of Africans that are barely making it from day to day. The essence of our new performance culture is that if you're good, you're in. If you're bad, you're out. So we will continue to offer salary increase and other types of incentives for top achievers and top performers. And of course, I don't know anywhere where they give poor performance any credit. So if I may, I want to remind you that sometimes when we look at some of these discussions, we forget that we are some of the best paid and best looked after people, not just on this continent, perhaps people working around the world in the fields where we are. Most people, will look at the kind of jobs we have and say, well, for all of what we are doing, even in developed countries, many of them could never even dream of earning anything like what we earn or enjoy this level of security. One of the most distressing things for me, though, as your president, is that sometimes I have seen in my time here, is the way some people who have so much or who earn so much complain that they want more. Let me give you a personal example. I joined the Rockefeller Foundation, where I worked for 10 years. I thought that in the Rockefeller Foundation, where you got such a prestigious job, I will get a contract. And so my first day at my work, I walked up to my boss, and I was so excited in New York. And he said, welcome to the Rockefeller Foundation. I'm going to take you to lunch. And I was so excited I was going to lunch with my boss. And we stopped. I thought we were crossing the street, and he stopped. I said, are we crossing the street? He said, no, where we are going to. I saw, those guys that put, what do you call it, the hot dogs at the sides of the, yeah. And he reached out and he bought one hot dog for himself, and he bought another hot dog for me. And I thought maybe it was like a snack on our way to the to the restaurant. He said, okay, let's go back upstairs. All right, so we went back upstairs. He said, well, would you like to drink? I said, I think I would like some Coke. He said, well, we don't have Coke, but we have water. And I picked up a glass of water. He also picked up a glass of water. And he said, welcome to the Rockefeller Foundation. He said, welcome to the job of managing a dead man's asset. He said, here is my advice to you, for you. Hire the best minds, sharpest minds in the world that you can find. Unleash them to do the job, and then get out of their way. Welcome to Rockefeller Foundation. That was how I started my job at Rockefeller Foundation. And as I thought about it, then I said, well, how about my contract? He said, see me in December. And in December, I got a letter that says, well done, you've done real well. I look forward to seeing you in January. And I never had to think about it twice. There wasn't anything personal to it. It was all about performance. I never even lost sleep at all for 10 years, almost 11 years. Because I knew if I did my job, I knew if I performed, I didn't have anything to worry about. I I didn't have a grandfather there. I didn't have a grandmother there. I didn't have anybody there, nobody to protect or when I have to run into. Nothing like that. Nothing, absolutely nothing like that. And that's the kind of culture we want to have here. I don't mean the culture of the $1, but that culture, if you're working hard and if the performance targets are well set, evaluation is easier. It's not a question whether he likes my face or he doesn't like my face, or she likes my face or doesn't like my face. We want to be quite open. We want to be quite explicit about how things are done. So I just want you to know that you have nothing to fear about. If I had to send my kids to school for over 10 years at Rockefeller Foundation on a one-year contract, working, I don't think you have anything to worry about. The only thing that I will ask you to change is the mindset of performance. That's what we want to see. So, as I said, colleagues, we are undergoing a major transformation. And I just want to show that, as I said, some will join us and many more will join us, and I hope you all can stay and some may decide to leave. But let me assure you that everyone will be treated fairly and on merit. As I said, we want the best people to do the best job, and we'll look out to the best ways in which we can manage everything that comes from that. Now, let me talk about what we will put in place to support you as you make these transitions. A staff support mechanism and programs that will include flexibility on children's education, installation support, administrative leave, as well as flexi time among several other initiatives to allow people to adjust to the movements. A key element going forward, my colleagues, is communication. Please, when I say communication, when I came to this bank, I've been here for 10 months. I watch CNN, I watch BBC. But somebody said, what kind of radio do you listen to? I said, I was wondering, why is this person asking me I should listen to a radio? He said, there's a radio called Radio Bad. I said, what's called radio? I thought you all had a radio station. No, the guy just joked. Because I will keep saying it. Please, don't believe gossip. And don't act on gossip. For example, I heard from the radio station on channel WFI 95.5. I'm trying to staff up my front office, because I'll be clear with you, I need to rejig things, I need to make sure that things are working properly, efficiently, and so on. And I'm looking for very sharp people, hardworking people that can help me there. My task is a big task. And I've asked that, look, I said, well, please look in the organization. Find me smart people, hardworking people, right? Look, I don't need to know you, you don't need to know me, anything. Just be hardworking that can deliver. Send them up to me, we try them for a while, and if it works, fine, if it doesn't work, but advertise all the positions. Anybody can compete for them, right? But sometimes I hear in the radio station, oh, maybe the president has started a process of handpicking people. No, I don't do things like that. I just want you to be very clear about what's going on. If you want to work in the president's office, when the advertisements are out, just apply. I will interview you myself, and I will tell people whether you succeeded or not. So you can change this, you can change the radio station. I promise that we will give you clear, simple, and timely information, and that we will be honest and transparent. We'll also give you a chance to respond. The main platform is the microsite that I think John, John, can you stand? John may not know, but he might be leaving us, sometime soon, because he has to go back for his father and all of that, personal reasons and so on. But when I asked John to pick up the job of acting director of communications, I've never seen you asking somebody to step up, and he says, why are you asking me that? I said, John, what do you mean by that? He said, because my life is perfectly normal, and why do you want to make it abnormal? You know how John is. So I had to convince John to take on this role, but I must tell you that John and his team have done an absolutely fantastic job since he took it out. And I know that you have Brexit, and I hope that's not the reason for exit. But John, thank you very much. We're grateful. And so Ebrima and Janvier, they've already gone to the field office, to the country offices and the regional offices and spoken to them. They are also going to meet with different complexes and explain a lot of these things as we go. So with the Senior Vice President and also Vice President for Human Resources, there'll be a lot of interactions, their own town hall meetings, where they can go into a bit more details, more granularity about some of the things that you need to know. So let me conclude. I'm absolutely convinced that we have what it takes to get there. And what it takes to get there is in this room, it's in the overflow rooms, it's in the countries, it's in the regional offices. As I said to you, the experience over the last 10 months in office to date has been for me a marvel at the quality and the commitment of the staff that we have. Last week, I was amazed to find out a new initiative called InnoPitch. How many of you participated in InnoPitch? No, but be a bit more. Okay. Now, it's a living proof of what Gandhi said, that we ourselves must be the change we want to see. I was so amazed, as we listen to the whole range of things. And where is he here? Emmanuel? He's not here. Emmanuel Santi is not here. Where are the other InnoPitch people? Please stand. If you're in the overflow rooms or in the country offices, yeah, but Kapil, you are also part of that group. Yeah. No, these guys did a fantastic job. I'm sure you all participated so actively. Thank you so much. We saw 15 proposals from across the bank, everything from creating an e-bank to launching gender and diaspora bonds to establishing a creche for the youngest among us. Some people tell me about population control, but I don't think I don't think those that we're talking about, they wanted to have a little bit more, a nice creche that we can have a lot more expansion and therefore more reason to work. We also talked about quite some ideas about how we become a green bank, recycling, composting, renewable energy, even on our own premises. The level of belief from the presenters and the level of responses from the audience convinced me more than ever that we are in good hands with the people who work for this bank. So colleagues, our work continues. Our 2016 work program is well on track. On Thursday and Friday this week, we have the replenishment meeting of the African Development Fund, ADF 14. I'm delighted with the amount of high quality work that has gone into that. I feel we are in very good shape to get a very good result at the third and final meeting in November. So I want to thank you all for your hard work. I will be pleased to take some questions now. I revert to what I said at the beginning, but I'm trying to listen, to hear both your excitement and your concerns, and to give you as much information as possible that I can give. One last thing before I close. Let me thank 10 executive directors whose time in office will end this week, and who have given so much to the bank. I would like in particular to salute A.D. Shahid Khan, the Dean of our Executive Directors. He and those around him have made an immeasurable contribution to scaling up and focusing the work of the bank. They've encouraged us, they've challenged us, they've cajoled us sometimes about our thinking on the high fives and the new business model. We will always remember their amazing contributions to the bank and to Africa. In thanking Shahid, I also want to thank the other 10 who are also completing their terms. This include Edis Asano, Edi Muyoz, Edi Ketsela, Edi Mohammed, Edi Centauri, Edi Tunanen, Edi Imsa, Edi O'Neill, Edi Ngam, and Indi Wangala. Please let's thank them for their service. And I think there's a dinner tonight. Is it tonight? Yeah. So you're welcome to bring your dancing shoes, as it's going to be fun. It's not a board meeting. It's just a fun time. And the cycle continues as 11 new EDs will be joining us, and the work will go on. The people of Africa, dear colleagues, are with us, and they need us. Lucy and our young brothers and millions more. Each one of us has a part to play. Colleagues, we all share the same collective vision for Africa. My task as your president is to empower you to deliver on it. Thank you so very much for listening to me. And I hope I sufficiently used the first point of my term of reference, which is to talk a little bit. Thank you.